He's going away, and he's going away forever. January 8th gunman Jared Lee Loughner sentenced to life in prison with no chance of getting out and ever hurting anyone again. Good evening. I'm Guy Ashley.
And I'm Jennifer Waddell. The man behind one of the most tragic days in Tucson history will die in prison. Jared Lee Loughner sentenced to 7 life terms and an additional 140 years. An emotional day as many January 8th victims were in the federal courtroom, including former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, who stood with her husband, Mark Kelly, as he addressed Loughner face to face for the first time since the shooting. Not on Your Side has been in and out of the courtroom all day, and we do have team coverage tonight. Craig Smith was inside of the courtroom, while Corey Marshall has reaction from the victims. We begin tonight with Craig Smith.
Jennifer, there was a sense of anger, grief, but also of mercy as surviving January 8th victims faced Jared Lee Loughner. Patricia Maish helped keep Loughner from even more killing when she grabbed his second clip of bullets and kept him from reloading. She did not remind Loughner of her actions. Instead, she told Loughner the system failed him, failed to get him the treatment he needed. Now she says real justice for him is impossible, but he should not get the death penalty. Instead, she hopes he'll get treatment that will let him wake every morning and know exactly why he's locked away. Mavi Stoddard told Loughner how her husband Dory used his body to shield her from the bullets, how she called to God for help and tried to comfort him as he died. She told Loughner after a long struggle, her faith has helped her forgive him. Loughner showed no real reaction to any of the victims. Mark Kelly showed the most anger. He told Loughner, "You tried to create a world as dark and evil as your own, but you failed." His wife, Gabrielle Giffords, stood silently by his side as Kelly told Loughner how his bullet turned an athletic, articulate woman into someone partially paralyzed who has to struggle to complete a sentence, but who has the will to keep working to get better. "You put a bullet in her head," Kelly said, "but you did not put a dent in her spirit." Kelly went on to criticize politicians and society for failing to catch and treat Loughner before he deteriorated into a killer. And he even took on Governor Jan Brewer for saying the extra-large bullet clip Loughner used might have made no difference because he could have simply brought extra guns. Now, Judge Larry Burns also raised the issue of the extra-large ammunition clips like the one Loughner used. He said he can't understand why those are so easily available for civilian use, but he said as one individual federal judge, there's really nothing he can do about them.
Craig, we noticed today, hearing from the victims, that they seem to have become activists now on gun control and mental health issues.
They really have. That is how they're taking comfort from this terrible incident. They feel that it motivates them very, very strongly to do something to try to turn around some of the factors that led to what happened on January 8th.
Craig, thanks for that report.
Today was a day of closure for many of the January 8th victims, a chance to face the man who changed their lives forever and give a voice to those who were killed. Let's take a moment to remember them. Dorwin Stoddard, who threw himself on his wife to save her. Dorothy Dot Morris, a retired secretary from Oro Valley. Phyllis Schneck, a Tucson homemaker. Judge John Roll, a federal judge appointed by the first President Bush. Gabe Zimmerman, a Gifford staffer. And 9-year-old Christina Taylor Greene, there to meet her congresswoman because she too wanted to go into politics. Not on Your Side team coverage continues now with Corey Marshall live at the courthouse with the reaction from victims and their families.
Guy, I've been here at the courthouse since the first few cars pulled up this morning for today's sentencing. Representative Barber and his wife, former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, and her husband, Mark Kelly. And as they pulled up, you can tell by the looks on their faces, they were preparing for a very emotional day.
The Honorable Judge John Roll, Congressional Aide Gabrielle Zimmerman, Christina Taylor Greene.
The names of those killed read several times.
Dorothy Morris, Phyllis Schneck, and Dorwin Stoddard.
But they're not the only victims. Shooting survivors, their families, friends, and an entire Tucson community continues to grieve today, finding some resemblance of resolve. Shooting victim Pam Simon is one of several victims to address Jared Lee Loughner pre-sentencing. Obviously, everyone grieves in their own way. Did today's sentencing kind of provide closure for you and your family?
closure resolution are words that were heard often in the courtroom. I settled on the word peace. I am hoping to take away some peace from this so we can move on with our lives.
Representative Ron Barber, alongside his family, said he holds no hatred toward Mr. and Mrs. Loughner and understands they are grieving too.
I am very, very angry and sick at heart about what you did and the hurt you have imposed on all of us. I told him that he must now live with this burden and we'll never see outside of a prison again.
Jared, I know you did not choose this illness that led to this horrific tragedy.
And not lost is a message.
This is sad. This is tragic. This young man was treatable.
Echoed from nearly every victim.
I believe, truly wishes that someone had intervened both on behalf of his mental health and what if someone had stopped him from purchasing a gun.
Simon is one of many using the tragedy as a platform to change mental health care in the country. She says she's finding her own healing through action.
With this sentencing of Jared Loughner, a chapter will close, but the book will remain open.
Now, something that I heard repeatedly from several of the victims I spoke with, including Pam Simon, is that, yes, today's sentencing provides a certain amount of closure for the victims, survivors, and the victims' families, but there's still a long road of healing ahead. Guy.
Corey, I know that you were there for the press conference immediately after the court adjourned, and something we also heard there was the victims and their families thanking the prosecution for how the court case was handled.
That's right. In fact, a majority of their survivors and victims' family actually signed a letter thanking Pima County Attorney Barbara Lawal for her decision not to prosecute Loughner on behalf of the state. It's a decision that was partially driven by the family's feelings, rather, that justice has been served. Guy.
Corey, thank you.